Hello, we're Adam and Lindsay Donaldson. We have two sons who attend ACA. They're 10 and 13 years old. Our philosophies on raising children are sometimes trial and error, sometimes learned from peers, and sometimes just a blind shot in the dark. One thing we both agree on is making sure boundaries are set in place for our two. For us, this process can be tough. As we talk more about this, we'll try to explain what's and the whys that go into what we do. Disclaimer, we don't have a 100% success rate with this, but it seems to work for us.
Raising children in today's world can often seem like a difficult task. They are being pulled mentally and physically in directions that we as parents aren't always fond of. These distractions can come from what they watch, what they listen to, the social media they follow, and even the people they are around. One of the difficult decisions we as parents have to make is what distractions can be bridled by us. This is where boundary setting comes in. We parent under the belief that we are responsible for setting boundaries that will hopefully allow our children to avoid the distractions that we mentioned. When we talked about the difficulty of these decisions earlier, this is where it comes into play.
Folks, sometimes the boundaries are going to alienate your children. They may miss out on the popular thing or may be looked at as inferior. Your children will look at you as if you just ran over their only puppy. This will happen. As parents, it's extremely important to interject in these situations to communicate our reasons for our decisions. It's not easy. Make sure you take a minute, pray the Lord gives you the words to say on this one. Just as we're watching over our children, He is still watching over His.
As we set boundaries, it's important that we communicate with our children the reason why we are setting boundaries. We must be open and honest with them in order to help them understand that it is for their physical and spiritual protection, safety, and well-being. A forgotten benefit of boundaries is the discipline that it helps to instill in them. The goal with our communication is to help them understand that the reasons we have boundaries in place is to help them develop into independent, successful young men and women. The guidelines we put into place now will one day lead them into being responsible, respectful adults.
As difficult as it can be at times, we have to remain consistent, hold firm to the boundaries we put in place as parents. If our children sense or observe that we aren't being consistent, they'll quickly know that they can take advantage of us and know we aren't being serious about the boundaries we've put in place. We may often ask ourselves, am I being too harsh? Am I being too lenient? Is all this worth it? The journey of parenting will include many highs and lows, but in the end, we need to have remained consistent as much as possible. We have to find a balance between not being too harsh and not being too lenient. We have to decide what works best for our family and implement guidelines or boundaries that help us accomplish our goals in parenting. Our intentions have to come from a gentle but firm mindset while also being respectful and mindful of our children and their thoughts and feelings. We can't approach boundaries from an only authoritative, controlling viewpoint. We have to be willing to build a relationship with our children that allows them to see the trust we have in them, as well as the belief that they can trust us. It's important to have a mutual respect and lead and guide them in a way that reflects the love we have for them and for the Lord. Our children need to know that we love them and want what's best for them. We need to help them realize that we care enough about them to have boundaries in place in order to protect them and hold them accountable for their actions.
The idea of setting boundaries helps our children know what is acceptable behavior. Our desire is for our children to develop a sense of responsibility for their actions and to have a deeper understanding of what is right and wrong. We want to instill these values in them and help them learn to make good choices on their own because of a conviction in their hearts rather than just following guidelines that parents have put into place. As parents, our goal isn't to control our children or tell them all of the things they can't do, but rather to encourage positive behavior and choices that will help shape their personalities and their character. We are called to lead by example, and we should strive to show our children what it looks like to have boundaries in place in many areas of our lives. We need to help them see that boundaries are a good thing and something that will help them. Children thrive on discipline and knowing what is expected of them. Children who have boundaries in place often have more confidence in themselves and are better equipped to meet the pressure and responsibilities of growing up. However, there will be times when our children choose to test those boundaries. This is when our reactions to that testing will make or break the situation. We have to remain calm, clear, and confident as we approach the issue at hand when dealing with boundaries that have been tested or broken. When we react in a calm manner, we help our children realize our grace for them is the same as the grace the Lord provides for us as parents each day. There will be times when consequences will be necessary when boundaries are broken. But if we've developed a loving, understanding relationship with our children, they'll be more receptive to those consequences and more likely to learn from their mistakes. Giving our children some freedom to make their own choices will help them realize they are responsible for their actions, and when poor choices are made, they know the outcome will involve consequences.
As our children grow, we will have to adapt the boundaries we've put in place to match their developmental needs. Each stage of childhood requires different ways of parenting that will establish different boundaries being put into place. Throughout our parenting journey, it's essential to surround ourselves with like-minded people. Even as parents, it's important to choose our circle of friends wisely and rely on one another. Knowing we have the support of other parents who also strive to set healthy boundaries for their children will give us the courage to stay the course and know that our children will one day reap the benefits of our hard work. They'll be able to look back on their childhood and know their parents loved them and wanted what was best for them. Our goal as parents is to put forth the best effort we can in helping our children learn and grow into young men and women God created them to be. What an amazing opportunity we have to play such a crucial role in their lives to help them develop boundaries in their spiritual, physical, and emotional lives. I'm so thankful we serve a God who shows us grace as we embark on this journey together as parents. It's important that with the Lord's guidance, we as parents can help our children learn how to succeed and thrive to be who God wants them to be by setting healthy boundaries that will give us and them the tools they need to succeed.